Stock Exchange, the ICE Group. The launch date is set for December 12, 2018. And if you remember, that's about 1 year after the original Bitcoin contracts were launched on the CME and CBOE. Now, the difference between the contracts that were launched on the CME and the CBOE and the current backed proposed contracts are that the CME and CBOE contracts are cash-settled futures contracts, which essentially means that you don't need to buy the physical underlying asset. With this one, however, you actually need to buy the Bitcoin, which should create a whole lot of demand for Bitcoin. Now, when you take that and you couple it with the news that Fidelity is coming into crypto and all the other good news, you'd expect that we'd be in the middle of a very big bull run. But Bitcoin can't break $6,500. Joining me to talk about why Bitcoin can't break $6,500 is Tim Draper. Tim, so much good news in the market. Why can we not break $6,500? Where is this roadblock coming from?
Well, I think I'm really looking at it as this is a transformation that's going to happen over the next 4 or 5 years. We're all going to be there. There's no reason we're going to be using political currency again, because we're going to be able to use cryptocurrency, and it's so much better. It's decentralized, it's frictionless, it's just better. So these short-term moves are going to be sort of tied to, what people hear about in the news one day and what they think about in the next. But I do think that BACT may actually give a little bit of a boost.
So we talk about the use cases, and you and I both understand the use cases because I think we're both Bitcoin permeables. I've been labeled as the second most bullish person in the world on Bitcoin after you. Now, we understand the technology, we understand how it works, and the one thing that we keep talking about is the fact that Bitcoin actually gives you financial independence, and it allows you to hold your own asset or your own money itself. But what we're celebrating is the fact that these big centralized institutions are once again going to be holding a whole lot of Bitcoin. Have we got this whole thing the wrong way around?
I think you're onto something, because really it is a decentralized currency. It is not tied to some political force. It is free and open and honest. It's an honest currency. And so people are going to want to use it in that way. I think these are interim steps. These are bridges toward a world where we are, where we almost are watching borders dissolve and the world kind of opens up, and governments are like companies competing for us. So I think it's just, we have a vision of the future. It's a very great vision. The world will look entirely different in the future, and I believe we're getting rid of fiefdoms, and I think we're getting rid of the tribal instincts, and we're now realizing that it's not us against them anymore. In fact, I'm from San Francisco, and I'm still willing to root for the Dodgers.
So you talk about this revolution,
so it kind of opens up. The world's sort of opening up, and governments have to think about it in a new way. They have to think about how to compete for us. And so some governments are saying, no, I like it the way it is. You see China putting up walls and not letting money leave and making Bitcoin illegal. And then Japan responds to that and says, Bitcoin's a national currency in Japan. Here's how you do an ICO. Welcome. You can tell which of those economies over the next 40 years is going to do really well and which one is not.
Well, let's talk about that point, because here in the US, I think the SEC have been quite slow in coming out with real regulation, although we do feel that maybe now they're trying to play catch-up. Now with Fidelity announcing that they're going to be coming in, and they've got $7 trillion under management, and you're talking about BACT, which is owned by ICE, which is the same guys that own the New York Stock Exchange. Do you think that now, like, the SEC has this fire under their backsides to actually start legislating this thing?
I think the SEC is torn, and I think it's okay, because they're torn between like going after the fraudsters who are taking advantage of the elderly or whatever they were set up to do in the first place, and making sure that all that technology does stay in the U.S. And they know that it's a competitive world out there, and so they have this balance. And where Japan was all in and China was all out. The U.S. has kind of kept like a nice, easy, nice level playing field for people to come in. They want to see the technologies happen. The last thing you want to do is do what the China dictator did. You do not want to push these entrepreneurs away. They are going to make our world just hum. This whole new financial world is going to be amazing and frictionless and honest. It's going to be really incredible. And so you don't, I mean, as a government, you don't want to mess with that. You want that to kind of happen.